Welcome to First Take. We will be discussing three topics: who is the best receiver in the NFL, the best home run of the 21st century, and who is the best defensive player from this past draft. So let's start off here. Who do you believe is the best receiver in football?
Well, my take on it, best receiver in football, no question about it, DeAndre Hopkins, easily most talented guy out there. The Texans lucked out getting him. Oh my gosh, you see this guy makes highlight plays every week, highlight catches every single week, and he has the yards and touchdowns to back it up, receptions to back it up. I haven't seen this guy drop a pass since, maybe he was drafted. He was amazing in Clemson, even better in the NFL. DeAndre Hopkins is my guy.
David, your opinion?
Let me break down the numbers. The best receiver in the NFL is Antonio Brown. Let me break down the numbers here. In the last 5 years, Antonio Brown has led the league in yards twice. DeAndre Hopkins has never in his career led the league in yards. Antonio Brown has led twice in the last 5 years. In receptions, he's led the league twice, and he's also led the league in touchdowns last year, which people said it was an off year for him. He still led the league in touchdowns. Last 5 years, he's number one in touchdowns and number one in receptions, number two in yards. DeAndre Hopkins isn't as high as him in any of those categories. To me, the numbers back it up. You can say all you want about height and jump, vertical, whatever, but when it comes down to producing, it comes down to ego doesn't matter. We're talking about who's the best, who produces the most. Antonio Brown, yeah, maybe he had an off year, but he still led the league in touchdowns and was right up there in receptions as well. Antonio Brown is been the best receiver in football. He's still the best receiver in the NFL, and he proves that year in, year out.
I disagree with you. You might say all that stuff matters, the stats and all that, but you have to check the talent level. Talent level, you see what these guys make. You see his receptions. DeAndre Hopkins, I don't know what he does to his hands, but when that ball comes near him, it's like glue. Bang, stopped. Like every catch I see him make. I honestly, Antonio Brown does not give me that same wow factor. He doesn't put himself on top of the league. The stats may back it up, but still. Let's look at receptions. DeAndre Hopkins can still lead that too.
Let's look at the stats for catch percentage, which is when they're targeted, when the receiver's targeted, how often they catch the ball. So in the last 5 years, Antonio Brown, 2014, 71.3, 70.5 in 2015, 2016, 68.8, 62 in 2017, and then 2018, 61.9. DeAndre Hopkins, 59.8, 57.8, 51.7, 55.2, 70.6. So consistently, Antonio Brown's catching the ball at a much higher rate than DeAndre Hopkins. Yeah, in the last season, DeAndre Hopkins was better, I'll give you that, but overall throughout the years, it's Antonio Brown, and he shows that year in, year out, he comes to produce, and he's going to keep producing every year. Antonio Brown's the most talented, best receiver in football, and he has been for years, and really is not that close.
Well, me personally, I think you're both wrong. You got Julio is the best. But let's move on to our next topic now. The best home run of the 21st century.
All right, I guess I'll lead off with this one. Easily, it has to be ALDS, Blue Jays versus Texans, Game 5. Jose Bautista comes up in the bottom of the seventh, whacks that thing out of here, bat flips, crowd went nuts. Most hype home run, best in-game situation. Honestly, I think I'll remember that for years. I'll show this to my grandkids, and they'll be like, wow, that was something.
I mean, that was a good home run. Don't get me wrong, cool, Game 5 home run, whatever. But let me give you Game 6, 2011 World Series. That ALDS is nice. I'll give you that divisional series, pretty good, pretty big stage. World Series is a whole nother level. The Fall Classic, Cardinals Rangers, Game 6, 2011. David Freese comes out to bat, bottom of the 11th inning, tie game 99, comes up, hits the home run, walks it off to send it to a Game 7. And like Joe Buck said, like his dad said back in 91, we'll see you tomorrow night. Joe Buck said the same thing. It was iconic at Busch Stadium. Crowd goes nuts. After David Freese hit the triple to put 2 runs in the 9th inning to make it 7-7 and tie the game with 2 outs. Now goes up in the 11th inning, hits the home run, 9-9, dead center field. That's the craziest home run.
You're forgetting the biggest part of this. The biggest part of this is that the Jose Bautista home run, that was a deciding game. That made the series. And that still has relevance to this day as the Rangers and the Blue Jays are still feuding over that bat flip. Rougned Odor is still out for blood for that. It's nuts. It's crazy. It's had so much repercussions. The amount of waves it's made, it's crazy. It's a huge moment in baseball history. Mm-hmm. Cannot deny.
But what happened? We're talking about most important home run, right? What happened to the Blue Jays that season? They won the ALCS.
Went to the ALCS.
what happened in the LCS.
Well, you know what? That doesn't matter. They ran into a very, very hot Royals team.
They
but
did.
You know what? They still
The
they
Cardinals
made
won the
their-
World
they did-
Series
they did-
because of
they
that
did
home
what they
run.
needed.
They
They
won
did
the
what they needed to
whole-
do. They did win. They got through the series. They beat a very hot team,
Mm-hmm.
a team that was on the decline, but a very hot team in the Texas Rangers, and did what they needed to do. Especially Jose Bautista coming in with that.
Well, anyway, we must get to our final topic now. The best defensive player from this past draft. I'll start with you, Linc.
Well, I think this is no surprise here. I mean, he was picked a little late, but he probably should have gone way, way earlier. That's Kentucky's Josh Allen, outside linebacker, edge rusher, insane stats, 88 total tackles, 5 forced fumbles, 2 recovered fumbles, one of them for a touchdown, interceptions galore. He has just been completely dominated the ACC, made Kentucky a force. Whatever the other teams did, he was the man. He was the made man. He was the defensive prodigy. Like Quinn Williams, sure, he might have been the best. He might have been the best rated guy. No way. Josh Allen blows him out of the water. Blows Nick Bosa out of the water. It's crazy. He was the best. He's insanely good.
I'll give you, Josh Allen was a steal at, I believe it was 7. The Jags got him. I thought that was a steal. Great pick for the Jags. But Nick Bosa is the best offensive player from this draft. Second pick. A lot of people say he should have went first in the draft. Technically sound, the complete modern pass rusher. He could run with speed, agility. He could also get through with power, stop the run. Nick Bosa is the full package. He trained this whole season for the draft. His combine numbers were off the charts. He's going to be the best defensive player from this draft.
Well, that's all the time we have. Thank you for joining PTI with Chris, Linc, and David. We will see you next time.